What is going on, guys? Welcome to Comes Videos. My name is indeed Kyle Gilbert, and today I'll be reviewing Ready Player One. So Steven Spielberg directs this film, and in the past couple years, I haven't really been a huge fan of him recently. I mean, he still had that like magical and awe feeling to his films, but there was nothing really special. And there's something I really don't talk about myself on this channel, and it's that I'm a huge 80s nerd. And it's with film, but mostly with music. So when they're playing Jump in an action scene, that's getting my blood pumping. I was like, fuck yeah, hitting. Just like, this movie is just summed up in that final action scene. And it's just amazing. That's the biggest word I can, if I could describe this movie in one word, and it's the word is magical. When I left the theater, I realized, I was thinking to myself, I could play some Oasis right now. Then I realized I had my shitty Fortnite to go back to. I love me some Fortnite, but goddamn, once you go to Oasis, you can never go back. This movie really has this amazing world that it sets up, and it's just fantastic. And if you're not a gamer and if you don't like the 80s, I'm not sure if this movie is going to be for you, but it's just got this sense of adventure, and it's just like, I'm going to keep saying this word, but it's magical. It's something I want us to strive towards when it comes to games, because I am becoming a gamer. I am. And this is what I want to see in 2045. And it is a possibility. But seeing it and not being able to go into the Oasis is just sad. So this movie is going to be known for its large amounts of nostalgia. You got King Kong, you got the T-Rex from Jurassic Park in there. There's countless other characters in there that you probably need a magnifying glass and go frame by frame just to see them all. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, that's going to ruin the movie. No, it's actually pushing the movie more. And it sounds really weird because like people are like, oh, it's like marketing and stuff like that. You could tell it's going to take me out of the movie. No, it's actually such a huge part of the movie where Holiday, the guy who created the Oasis, is such an 80s nerd, and all these people respect him and love him. So you're going to clearly see stuff from the 80s and 90s. So obviously you will see that. And this movie is surrounded by people who hate reality, and they're striving off of these pop culture movies and games and stuff like that. So clearly it makes sense why you would see these things. And these ain't no cameos either. I'm not gonna spoil it, but Iron Giant is my dude. I fucking love him. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but him in that final act, if anyone tries to tell you that was not fucking badass, needs to sit down and rethink life, because that was just badass. There's some fights in this movie I would never have thought of. I mean, like, X character versus X character, that would be cool, but would never happen. We get it here, and it's just fucking amazing. This movie really captures the 80s and why I actually love that era. Some people are like, I'm tired of the 80s, we're capturing it, we're living it too much. Well, for me, this movie is just a love note, and it's not like No Stranger Things. This is a full out, like, hey, we're not only an 80s film, because this is definitely an 80s film. It's a nostalgia note. This is a love note. This is what the 80s saw, what 2045 would be like. And it's a possible future. There's so much I loved about this movie. It's just so much fun. The characters, even though very simplistic, that is a complaint I have with the characters. It's a very, I won't say minor nitpick, because it is an issue. They're very simplistic, but they are like defined enough. Even those stereotypes, you can relate to them. You got the obviously the comedic relief with H, and then you got the leader role who's a lot more shy, but like he's the rebellious type with Z. Artemis, you know, the badass chick. And I know what you're thinking, like, no, she's not that badass chick. She's actually well deserved and stuff like that. And another complaint I'm gonna have with this movie, it is with simplistic characters, the plot is very simplistic, and I could tell what's going to happen, and there was no threat on the villain side. Like, I knew the heroes were going to win. If you thought otherwise, just no. Just no. The villain was clearly not going to win. It was very simplistic at times, and my biggest gripe with the movie is how the movie ended with the villain. That was very underwhelming. But that being said, I go to the movies, everyone goes to the movies for one thing. It's not to cry. It's not to see riveting stories. It is to have fun. People tend to forget that everything doesn't need to have this deep plot with the double meaning. Like, what does the fucking empty soup bowl mean? Does it represent his life? No. Sometimes movies can be just fun. And that's what this movie did. I was having a blast. The comedy works. I love the comedy. H is clearly one of my favorite characters because that's something I would be. Just like that orc guy, just like freaking building shit. Oh, it's just like, I had a blast. I was smiling ear to ear from beginning to end. The visual effects. This is what I mean about like stylized visual effects. See, not every great visual effects has to look real. It's just got to be consistent. And how consistent and how beautiful the Oasis looked was astounding. It was incredible. The first race scene, oh my God, it was just fucking cool. I can't stress that enough. This movie is just fun. You're not going to get no Oscar Award nominated screenwriting, characters, actors, none of that stuff. But if you are looking to have fun in the movies, this is something I would recommend because it is just something you can just lay back, not think too hard, not get lost, and just say, oh, that's cool because I know that character. There's a character in this movie for everybody. And I mean everybody. You don't have to be a gamer to actually get all these characters. Everyone's talking about this one scene that involves a movie. That scene was insanely cool. I might not be a big fan of this said movie. I mean, I like the movie, but I mean, I think it's a little overrated, but it's still cool to see that they focused an entire scene about it. It's just, oh. And H's reaction, if you guys seen the movie, H's reaction is totally legit in how I would feel if I saw what that person saw. It's just, this is what I mean. I haven't been excited watching a movie like this in quite some time, and it's refreshing to see something not take itself so seriously, because a lot of people are saying, hey, I can only take like the serious plots well. I'm like, listen, buddy, there's fine lines. You can have serious films like The Dark Knight, but you have to have a well balance with the films like Ready Player One, and that's why we have both sides of the dime, because one is for one fan and one is for the other fan, and sometimes the one fan of the one side is going to want to go onto the other side just because he's like, fuck it, I'm bored on this side. Even though with its flaws, and I mean there's quite a bit of flaws, there's not a lot, but I mean there's enough that it's like clearly noticeable. It's not a perfect movie, but I had so much fun with this movie. I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Now, people are going to be like, whoa, why such a high rating? Because this movie never bored me. This film never made me think, when is this movie going to end? This movie caught me the second it started. And that's why I'm giving it such a high rating, because I've had such a stringer of bad movies, in my opinion at least, where I just wanted something fun, and I had a blast with this movie. It's magical, it's adventurous, and I can get along with the characters. Even, with the simplistic character arcs and the simplistic writing and the simplistic villain. In the end of the day, it's not a character movie, it's a plot movie. And I would really hope you guys really see that. And I recommend you guys watch this. I really do. And a lot of people, another major complaint that people have that I totally disagree with is with the real world. It's too boring. No shit. You know why? Because the entire movie is setting up saying people think the real world is boring. So They go to the Oasis. Imagine in a world with this movie where the real world was more fascinating and like interesting, and then the Oasis, it would just flip itself on its head. It'll be like, wait, what? Oh, that's more interesting. I want to go back to that. So they did the right move by making the real world a little bit more simplistic. I understand the artistic vision of why they would want to do that. I want to hear your thoughts down below, guys. Did you love the movie as much as I did? What was your favorite cameo in the movie without spoiling anything? Comment down below, let me know. I have a Twitter, Instagram, _videos. Go follow me there for the latest news and updates on my channel. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and all that crap. Later, and goodbye.